Douglas had told Lincoln in one of the debates said Lincoln was a revolutionary for not supporting the Dred Scott case.
Frederick Douglass did not participate in the Lincoln-Douglas debates of 1858, as he was not a candidate for any political office at that time. However, Douglass did express his opinion about the Dred Scott decision in his speeches and writings. He criticized the Supreme Court's decision in Dred Scott versus Sanford, which held that African Americans were not citizens and therefore could not sue in federal court. Douglass saw the decision as an attack on the rights of black people and a threat to the future of the country.
Not Frederick Douglass, Stephen Douglas.
My apologies for the confusion. Yes, it was Stephen Douglas who debated Lincoln and the Dred Scott case during the Lincoln-Douglas debates in 1858. During the debates, Douglas argued in support of the Dred Scott decision, which declared that black people could not be U.S. citizens and that the federal government had no power to regulate slavery in the territories. In response, Lincoln criticized the decision and argued that it was a threat to the principles of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution.
Douglas had called Lincoln a revolutionary for not supporting it.
Yes, you are correct. During the Lincoln-Douglas debates, Stephen Douglas accused Lincoln of being a revolutionary because he did not support the Dred Scott decision. Douglas argued that by rejecting the Supreme Court's decision, Lincoln was advocating for the overthrow of the Constitution and the principles of popular sovereignty. In response, Lincoln argued that the Dred Scott decision was a flawed interpretation of the Constitution and that it was the duty of the people, through their elected representatives, to correct such errors.
I personally think the accusation was stupid because, for one, people have disagreed with Supreme Court rulings since the Supreme Court was incepted. Freedom of speech and beliefs allows you to have an opinion on that.
You are correct that people have disagreed with Supreme Court rulings throughout history. In fact, disagreement and criticism of court rulings are an important part of the democratic process, as it allows for debate and the possibility of change. The Supreme Court is not infallible, and its rulings can be subject to critique and debate, as they affect the lives of people across the country. As such, it is important for individuals and groups to have the freedom to express their opinions and beliefs on the rulings of the Supreme Court, regardless of whether they are in agreement or disagreement with them.
So that's why I think Douglas was out of line.
It's certainly possible that some people may have viewed Douglas's accusation as unfair or unwarranted, as it is not uncommon for individuals to disagree with Supreme Court rulings. However, it's also worth noting that Douglas may have been using the accusation as a political tactic to try to discredit Lincoln and gain support from those who were in favor of the Dred Scott decision. Political debates often involve using strong language and accusations, and it's possible that Douglas saw this as a way to gain an advantage over Lincoln in the public eye. Ultimately, it's up to each individual to decide whether they agree with Douglas's tactics and opinions.
Also, Lincoln pointed out it was a close decision.
Yes, that's correct. The Dred Scott decision was a close 5-4 decision, with Chief Justice Taney and 4 other justices ruling in favor of Dred Scott's owner and 4 other justices dissenting. Lincoln and many others disagreed with the decision and believed it was a significant overreach of judicial power.
Lincoln may have hoped that later on he'd get other judges in and the judges would overturn it.
Yes. Lincoln may have hoped to appoint Supreme Court justices who would overturn the Dred Scott decision, or for a future case to come before the court that would allow for the opportunity to overturn it. However, this did not happen during his presidency as the Civil War, and his assassination prevented him from making further appointments to the court.